How fascinating is that, to be around with that kind of person, who are honest with themselves and others. When their values, ideals, and actions aligned, and opposed to acting merely to please others, comply with expectation, or conform with social norms. Authenticity empowers people to be who they are as humans. We are all equipped with individual strengths and unique passions. Authenticity fosters creativity, and creativity expresses authenticity. Being authentic is the state of self-consciousness, self-discovery, and self-improvement. It is importance of being authentic to results in more positive emotions, greater life satisfaction, feelings of greater autonomy and control, a greater sense of purpose, and a greater self-acceptance. Based on Psychology, Journal of Counseling Psychology, by A.M. Wood and others. Authentic personality, a theoretical and empirical. Based on the meaning that I found in my research, the meaning of vulgar is in poor taste, that lack in sophistication, that is rude or unrefined, or that is associated with the masses. Like, for example, a very showy demonstration of wealth, or very tacky outfit, and even dirty jokes. According to ancient Chinese philosopher and writer Lao Tzu, when you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. In psychology, the human drive to compare ourselves to others is called social comparison theory, that was introduced in 1950s by social psychologist Leon Festinger. He pointed out that humans are driven to evaluate and know the truth about themselves, and desires a way to define themselves by comparing our abilities and opinions to those of others. Part of Festinger's hypothesis was one that stated that we are all also prone, when it comes to looking at our abilities, to look upward. We want to do better and better, so choose to compare ourselves to people slightly ahead of us in skill. These theories have since been elaborated on and in some ways challenged. In the 80s, a new concept was introduced called downward social comparison. This is the habit of comparing ourselves to those who are worse off. Yet, other psychologists pointed out that we are also sometimes choose to compare ourselves to those who are very similar to ourselves. So, it depends on what our motives for self-comparison. In the past generation, people believed based on spirituality. That is why I mentioned about curse that might runs into our family through and through, subconsciously. The abandonment trauma in the family existed during the time that the great-grandparents was denied by their parents. I would like to elaborate the generation of my mother, as she was the one who passes on me her abandonment trauma. When I look back to her experience from her parents, the pattern was quite different from our great-grandparents because her situation was based on the outcomes from the formula of 100% support is equal to 100% affirmation based on expectations result. So when expectations fails to meet, does it mean of zero affirmation? This case is very crucial kind of parenting mistake because this can result to losing of self-esteem and draining of self-confidence. Aside from it can be so depressing to the child mental health, isn't it? It was difficult and devastating considering the fact that everything is just based on misconception and impulsive judgment of a strict father. Visualizing the scenario ended so traumatic. The damage that has been done, years been passed, the person gone, but still the struggle of to face the parents' rejection is still there to face by those who are still alive. Unable for me to be authentic, it has something to do with my parents' experiences. Because being authentic, it has been rooted to our subconscious mind that drives our behavior based on collected information that has been stored and relevantly shown through our relationship towards others, our outlook in life and decision making that might help to our success or being defeat, downfall or misfortune with our future. Based on Romans chapter 5 verse 3 to 5 and James chapter 1 verse 2 to 4, sufferings causes our focus to turn inward to face those parts of ourselves we might otherwise ignore. God can use our sufferings then to develop us into a better people. Through integration of my faith and my parents' backgrounds and experiences, I believe that God has planned into my life even before I was born, including the family that I belong, which cannot be interchanged or choose. My conviction depends on them that runs into my generation. This is the most difficult portion of my story because it's directly focused and reveals the most sensitive part of me. However, vulnerability indeed a task that requires bravery for a content creator because it can be mistaken between being authentic and vulgarity for the reason that I could possibly judge. While I am composing this content and reach this portion of my story, it took me a while to continue writing. Honestly speaking, I was so hesitant and doubtful to do it, simply because I am not used to share my pain and difficulty to others. I think it is one of the reasons why others are quite distant from me. When I decided to start to blog here at my YouTube channel, it's all about myself, my interests, and my hobbies. And now, I come to the point of unveiling my life to you. If I would judge myself before it reaches you, for sure I can't able to make it. That is why I decided to continue. When I narrated my family background here, my ultimate goal is to share a testimony of importance about parenting and coaching, or educating in guidance for the children of the parents viewers, which is ironically I myself is not a mother, but it doesn't limit me. That is why I open the door revealing my life. My passion is not to teach, to be someone to look up to as a figure of perfection and idealism. It's the drive of my deepest concern with the future of the children in this generation in love of our country. So reaching out through my small voice in the most possible I can, educating for those who can learn anything for whatever they can get, resonate on my energy and vibes, as I can imagine the feelings of difficulty if no one are available to listen at your silence, but full of words to say, emotion to release and a draining mind. I learned to develop self-reliance during my 6th grade when I started self-supporting my studies, from high school to graduate school. It is unbelievable how I overlook my emotion, being focused to educate myself, hoping to attain changes and possibly make a difference with my life, if I would able to reach my goal and success in my future. It was an effort not to be self-centered persons, balancing my struggles and pain, to look the wide view of my difference with others at my generation, whom are not going through what I am facing. It is easy to dream and strive when you have moral support of your parents behind you. But if the situation is contradicting, where do you find strength? I have few fond memories with my mother. Recalling my childhood days, it seems normal mother and child relationship, even though it's clear in my mind that my mother used to hit me more often, while I don't remember her hitting my younger sibling. There are many chances that while our grandmother doing the dishes on the sink or preparing meals in the kitchen, I ran towards her every time my mother is gonna hit me with a stalk of a plant she got from the backyard's garden. Then my grandmother always saved me by hiding me to her dress while standing by the sink so that my mother couldn't find me, or sometimes hid me on the laundry big basin slightly placed by the wall. In fairness to my mother, I never take bad feelings when she hit me. As for me, it could be just normal, considering that she took care of me so well, being prone to various accidents when I was so sickly, asthmatic, that caused me to stop schooling during kindergarten and do homeschooling instead, where my mother became my teacher. Then the year that my health fully recovered and able to go back to schooling, my mother used to help me preparing my homeworks, and it was nice memories how she made a paper dolls that I show off with my admiring classmates, and we have fun dressing up those paper dolls. When I was at 6th grade, my mother had a boyfriend without opening up what it was mean all about, since it was shocking for me to find a man who gonna live with us whom are a stranger to me, while growing up knowing that just the three of us. Despite of my confusion, my mother just let me live and never find me from then on, where I started self-supporting my schooling to high school. But we simply see each other again during my graduation day, and learned that her relationship did not last longer. I simply continued self-supporting myself since then until graduate school, while inviting her every graduation day, until I get married, and let her and my sisters live together with us couple, to think that our relationship as family well recovered and probably would become stronger as my sisters encouraged me, until I come to realization that I am just taken for granted. It's been proven during the time that I needed their support the most, both of them left me alone Indeed, it was painful truth. Looking back my struggles and achievements, I remember that I never heard any cheerful words and greetings from my mother. Seems that recognition is not part of my existence. Those are red flags in terms of psychology. I came to the point of adulthood in my life that it was undeniably difficult positions. According to Carl Gustav Jung, who was an influential psychologist who established the field of analytical psychology, theorizing about the human unconscious, including the idea that there is collective unconscious all people share. He mentioned that through pride we are ever deceiving ourselves, but deep down below the surface of the average conscience as still. A small boy says to us, something is out of tune. For me, difficulty is unreasonably to turn my back to the family, but maybe to sacrifice is the best expressions of affection and concern. After consistent reaching out them, I can't deny the fact that my mother's painful experience from her father when she was withdrawn from their house the day she needed to live with our father. Her life turns upside down, and it was me a constant reminder of her wound that make her suffer every time I am around with her. For me, having understanding of everything and being aware, I have no capable to change any of them, but to lift up to God through my consistent prayers, which is called respecting boundaries in psychology, instead of triggering the red flags. Before I end this episode, I would like to emphasize that it is necessary for each and everyone to address the pain that burdens us subconsciously, enable for us to be aware consciously, so that this issue will never control our behavior, that we are able to regulate in terms of relationship in general, even affects our perception in life. Please don't get me wrong. In case you have hard time in internalizing with your condition, whatever difficulty it is in your life, out of concern for anyone, disregarded of their age, gender, and status in life, to see a counselor and psychologist. These professional services is helping people to regulate themselves through appropriate therapies. They are far from psychiatrists who are medically attending patients. That most of us misconceptions were created fears and dilemma to the society because of denial. Breaking the culture and embracing for open-mindedness to appropriate solution is more applicable in this modern generation, surrounded with technology, but at the end of the day, we need the most is humanity in God in our life. I am telling you this simply because we have been through with pandemic, which has been so devastating in each and everyone at present. No one could tell to what extent of emotional trauma it has impact with a person, either young or adult. This is a precautionary to be observant, aware to relevant indications to the behavior that exhibit with the people around us, among the family, our family members, even neighborhood, valuing others and being concerned. For example, for those people who are gossiper, possibly an indication of social trauma from the upbringing environment. Being gossiper is an acceptable behavior or attitude because it can lead to various mental disorders or emotional issues for those victims. So, if gossipers couldn't see a psychologist, he couldn't address their attitude problems from emotional issues. This is toxic attitude, revealed of poor moral values practice of people in the society and a reflection of rampant poverty in a country. So, promoting positivity and communication in right manners and good conduct. We have to understand that pandemic is still existing at present, and other parts of the world, millions of people sufferings due to ongoing war that needs our prayers and support in any means that we can capable of. Psychology is a part of teachers' curricula, able to properly handle students' individual differences through clear understanding and appropriate applications of successful learning process. However, execution accuracy depends to the ability of a person based on their emotional and mental stability. Alright, this is Variety Episodes Lifestyle Tips, telling you that being mindful is life changer. Be real with elegance. Please share, like, and subscribe on my next episode. Thank you. God bless.